Garden Report postgame show following the Celtics' second consecutive loss, this one to the LA Clippers. Bobby, I might even say this one was worse than the Golden State game because it wasn't competitive really at any point in time. And so Bobby's in LA. He's with the team, here on this California swing. Um, I don't even know where to start here. The question after last game, Bobby, was how okay they played a stinker. Okay, it was against a team where they looked like garbage last spring in the finals. Okay, that was a blow to their ego and their overall kind of vibe and their persona as this dominant team that was ripping through the NBA. How would they bounce back? I was really curious and I wasn't sure what they would look like. I'm pretty shocked that this was what we got tonight.
Yeah, I'm not shocked just because I think the Clippers are going to be right there with anybody else when their
Sure,
lineup's
on
intact. And
paper, absolutely. Yeah.
Kawhi was, as good as he was ever before the injury in this one. So that made a massive difference. I thought that all their ball control, their bench was great, their coaching was great on the other side. And it was the opposite for the Celtics. Tatum got off to another slow start. You didn't have a great facilitator emerge through the flow of this game. You didn't have great center play in the absence of Al Horford. All that kind of piled up on the Celtics. And the fact that the Clippers bench unit really took it to them too, I think made a major difference in this one. And they have wings everywhere. They were able to switch everything. They frustrated both Tatum and Brown, who I thought was better of those two. And they effectively neutralized that three-point shooting again. And we were waiting for it to come back to earth, John. By far the worst three-point shooting game they've had all season. They didn't have an answer. For 30 of their first 56 shots were from three, almost 55%. Too much. And they didn't have an answer until the third quarter. And by that point, as you said, the Clippers already had that steady 10-point lead.
Yeah, co-sign on this comment. Best part of the show was Max on the call. I love seeing
I
Cedric
missed
out
most
there.
of it. I want to have it in my ear. How was it?
It's Cedric, man. It's good to have him on there.
I saw him on the court pregame. I want to get for how he was feeling going into it, and a little more, usually Max just walk around just another game. He said it's been 5 years or so, and he was a little more up for that than I think the typical night. Plus, he's already his old stomping grounds down here in LA on the Clippers, so I was glad to see that. That was awesome.
Wait,
And
has it been that long for Max? I didn't realize. I felt like it was more
I can't remember
routine
the last time.
when I was at
Seen him
NBC.
on
But
TV?
no, it's just again. I guess I've been gone for a bit from NBC, and that's why it doesn't. In my mind, he was on more frequently when I was there, kind of spelling, whatever. So, um, yeah, it is what it is. People are saying you're lagging a little bit, Bobby. You know what, guys? This is what you're getting at 2:15 in the morning. With us a little bit.
Clippers
You know,
Wi-Fi.
you got LA Wi-Fi here, and we're gonna live with it. Yeah, Bobby, I was a little shocked on a couple different things. And hold on one second, I gotta see. Um, uh, Hold on one second. Just talking to our producer Tim Shields, who's still hanging out with us. We had some technical issues earlier. We also had, maybe somebody fall asleep and not make it on the show. I don't
Oh, we're
know.
about to throw someone under the bus.
Nope, 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 nope. Um, so it is what it is. But so again, here's what it comes down to, Bobby. Yes, during the course of a season, even the best teams are going to lose games. During the course of a season, even the best teams are going to, have bad spells where they look nothing like themselves. We get that. Nobody
Well,
expects.
let me ask you the question, because I think there's three things here we're kicking around, and you kicked around one of them earlier. One, maybe this team without the shooting and without the red hot offensive start isn't quite that juggernaut that's running away with the league this year. And once that shooting does come down to earth, maybe it's a little more even. Two, maybe coming off that Golden State, that 1 out of 82. This isn't a big deal. This was a bigger game for you guys than us. Maybe that
I don't buy that for a
flowed into
second, and you
today.
know that, Bobby, but that's okay.
And then the third one, I forget. I put too many on my plate. So those are the two I'm bouncing around. Maybe the shooting coming back there is going to make this team in a mix with some other groups like the Clippers, Warriors, and maybe the Bucks on Christmas. Or they just sort of took their foot off the gas here after that last one. Didn't come out amped enough. I know Tim was talking about they're not really having fun right now. Maybe fatigue setting in. Maybe things got a little tense through 2 big games, although I don't think there was a lot of hype coming into this one. So I don't know. I know you're kicking around a lot of stuff too. What's the biggest thing you're feeling out of these 2 straight losses?
It's not the kicking it around. It's not the, it's two things. The thing I said after the last game is the thing I'm going to kind of stick with here. That I didn't believe. I I believe that they could obviously play bad, lose, have games where just things are a little off. But I I thought they had gotten rid of um, the effort stuff, the looking lazy or standing around on defense, being sloppy with the ball, one pass and shoot sort of offense, playing iso ball. I felt like they'd gotten past a lot of that. So seeing it kind of rear its head again tonight, where the ball movement stops, the movement without the ball stops. That stuff is commitment. Same way you have to commit to like night in, night out defensive intensity, and that's a hard thing to do. You really have to commit to kind of this offensive philosophy that's really been the reason they've been so successful this year. And seeing them go away from it so like, in such a, just I don't know,
They
just
gotta be more flexible.
yeah.
Like you look back on Saturday, Tatum doesn't have the ball early. He doesn't go and get it until it's too late. The threes weren't there tonight. The Clippers had an answer for it, and they didn't adjust until midway through that third quarter. You started seeing Grant go downhill and attack some mismatches, and Tatum post up around that stretch and get some foul calls. That happened way too late. I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if it's reads. I think you heard a little bit of both of that here in this one, and Joe wanted to keep them in that fourth quarter, I think, to keep that flow going. And we can talk about that in a bit, but overall, I just don't think their reads have been sharp. I don't think they've adjusted well within games to some adjustments other teams are starting to make against them. Like, teams are running them off the line now, John. They're forcing them to go inside, and they don't have great answers in
Yeah.
there. And
No.
I think you look at Jalen and Brogdon, as great as they've been offensively, we've talked about this on Saturday too. They're more focused on being finishers than playmakers right now. So they're not really able to alleviate some of the playmaking issues that are going on right now.
No, they're not. In a strange way, it's almost kind of like what Schroeder was doing last year, where you'd have times where the offense would go stagnant, and you'd have a guy like Schroeder who could just create offense. But like, it wasn't necessarily good for the team. It was just, thank God somebody could get a bucket there. Brogdon's been that guy the last couple of games. Like, thank God that guy's out here to get some buckets when everybody else is cold. Or as you said, guys are being run off the line a little bit, or Tatum's not having a good night. And again, Tatum, I feel, is forcing a little bit. He's, the shots at the rim have been tougher, lower percentage than what he had been getting. He's not hitting threes. He really hasn't been hitting threes at a very high clip all year. Had another poor game from behind the arc. Then you have Brown trying to do too much because he's like, well, nothing's working here. It's those bad habits. It's that domino effect that it has when one part of it isn't functioning, almost kind of the rest of it falls apart. So you're right. They do have to adapt. They do have to get flexible. What I don't like is this, and I'm going to play this soundbite from Jaylen Brown, and you guys listen and tell me what you think here.
I think give credit to the Clippers. They came out and played great. I think that was probably one of the better games they played all year. And I think we didn't match the intensity. And we didn't make shots tonight, and that put pressure on us. And I got into some foul trouble. And I think that just kind of led to our demise. But I think we got to be better in terms of just being prepared to get everybody's best shot.
So, you know what I'm going to say. That stuff takes me back 2 years, that kind of soundbite. We got to come out. We got to match their intensity. We got to be ready for people's best shot. We didn't match this and that. Come on. Like, that's the stuff that they were doing when they were losing. And it'd be like, who are you talking about?
Well, where's that stem from?
Who is we? Who's not showing up? Where is the intent? I hate the we because the we feels like, I hate that soundbite. I hate it when they say it. I hate the we that it means everybody else. Like, what did you do? Take accountability for yourself. Let other people speak for themselves. The we thing is kind of like, Who's we? You mean everybody? Other people? Are you saying your teammates didn't come out? Why is that? I'm not saying Jalen did it. We hear a lot of people say that. We didn't come out. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. I can't stand that. Where does that come from? How do you not realize people are coming from you? You're the
I
best
was
team
asking you.
yeah, you're the best team in the league. You went to the friggin' finals last year. Everybody in the East believes that the path to the titles runs through you. Of course, you're getting everybody's best shot. You know this. Like, why should that be surprising right now? But what really has happened is you've looked like total chumps twice against high quality opponents, teams with talented rosters who've just played you well and just kind of played you off the court 2 nights in a row. It's kind of like 2021 Celtics sort of stuff here that I just don't. You just felt like this team had evolved. You talk about growth and maturity and love and trust and all of these things. You just felt that they got past a lot of it. So it is just weird to see the duds back to back in this manner where they're non-competitive. Like I said, they're standing around a lot. They weren't moving at all without the ball. They're giving up shots. And I know Joe says after the game that we gave him the shots that we wanted. I mean, I don't know. Did you feel they put any pressure on the Clippers at any point tonight?
A little bit in that third. Like you saw Grant go at Kawhi and finish over him and other guys. Tatum got inside and drew some free throws, and that's when they got their closest, but not quite. They weren't within a possession at one point or anything resembling like a true rally to get within a lead. I was laughing there, like them really trying to push like that 22-18 with like 5 minutes left. I guess if that flows in the next game, great, but there was no real chance there. And maybe the minutes you save in that spot help you more the next night than any rhythm or good play would. But we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah.
To your point, I think the three things you're looking at there is that they start so great, 21-5, and now they run into these teams that are at the highest level with them, and you're missing out. And I know they've been missing out on other nights. This Blake thing has worked in spots, but now it's 3 games
That's
in a
another
row.
problem. You can't play with no bigs, and it's a
You
little
don't have great
frustrating.
size. Teams are going right inside on you, and that's really like where I talk about that flexibility and adjusting. They're gonna have to figure something out there, and I don't know. Like Luke has struggled here a couple games in a row in some bad matchups. Blake
They got slaughtered. They got slaughtered on the boards again.
Yeah, Blake does what he can. Vonleh isn't really an option at this point, it looks like, and Grant's the guy. Like he's gonna have to move to the 5 in a game like this. He's gonna have to be able to. They're gonna have to switch everything against a team like this. They're gonna have to get him looks inside. I mean, this team. We talk about the reliance on the 3. It's not so much the reliance on the 3 because they do produce great shots. They are a great shooting team, but like they don't have that other option at the rim. Even when Horford does play, I mean, he's just out there shooting threes. So you got to find some way to produce some rim looks, and that's what they've really missed these last 2 games, I think.
Yeah, they definitely have. They also got how many fast break points to get tonight, Bobby?
It's tough when you keep giving up baskets.
Like none.
Yeah.
I think they had 0 into the fourth quarter. They didn't get out and run at all. They did, and again, yeah, it's tough to get fast break points. It's tough to get the ball when you're not causing turnovers, when the other team's shooting 60% or whatever it is that they shot for a good portion of the game. I mean, at the end of the day, Clippers shot 48 and 40. I mean, that's like an off night for the Celtics the way they've been playing most nights. But again, they didn't get out and run. They didn't get out and transition.
Well, you're right. 1 fast break point.
1 fast break point. That's it. 1 point. 14-1 fast break points. Second chance points. Clippers win that too. That's obviously going to happen. Points in the paint surprisingly was even. But they had to get their buckets somewhere because this was one of their worst 3-point shooting nights. I think their worst percentage-wise this season. It's also the first time they've fallen below 100 points since Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Also just kind of. Just to show you just how off offensively they were.
Doesn't have punch right now, and
it's weird, right? After seeing them the way they were, it is strange to see it. And I hate to say, like, the thing you feared all along is really all it comes down to is the 3-point shooting had to eventually come back to earth. It was so ugly tonight. There was so much tonight. The way they played and the way they shot felt like it was the second night of a back-to-back. It was everything was front rim, settling early for shots, one pass and shoot, one pass and shoot. Just that's the type of stuff you'd be worried about for tomorrow, not for tonight.
Yeah, and I thought they might have some advantages there in the second unit, be able to turn it around. Like even in that third, like I said, I saw some hope in the third as they started getting inside to the basket, getting to the free throw line more. But then you have George on the other side, just so aggressive, so physical. They inflicted foul trouble on Brown and Tatum, and that really seemed to throw them off their game. They were talking about that up and down in the post-game pressers, and that was pretty intentional by the Clippers, I thought. Like they want to go smaller, 5 wings on the floor, be able to switch everything, really just give the Celtics fits physically. And they were stronger, they were more decisive, they were to the spots first. Yeah. You really just saw a team that had better players 1 through 5 across the positions playing at a higher level than the Celtics did. And that's why I go back to that lineup thing. Like if you could have put Grant at center and ran with them, this is the game where did they do that at all? I don't think they did that tonight. It was Cornette and Griffin out there pretty much the whole game. And it's not that Blake's bad, right? I think he's playing well. I think he's trying hard. It's
there's
just
an expiration date.
Yeah.
There's an it's always if you're going to get 8, 10, 12, 15 good minutes, that's fine. When you start to look for 20, 25, 30 minutes, that's asking a lot for him. It's just not going to hold up. He's doing his best, but it's not meant to be. I do want to talk about Tatum because I do think that, at the end of the day, you're going to give somebody not all of the credit, a ton of credit for the way he's been playing and the results that they've been getting. He's also going to get lion's share of the blame when he plays this poorly against, prime competition out here out west. And these are back-to-back stinkers for Tatum, where he just looks out of sorts. But first, we got to pay the bills. We got to tell you about our sponsors. We're going to start out with Rocket Money, one of our new sponsors over here at the Garden Report. What is it? You might have known it once upon a time as Truebill, and what it is that thing that gets rid of all of your subscriptions, which is something you absolutely probably want to do because you probably have subscribed to way too many things and a bunch of stuff you forgot about. Are you wasting money? Yeah, probably. 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about. How much do you think you're spending? Most people say about 70, 80 bucks. Reality is it's about 200. So what Rocket Money does is it consolidates all of that. It goes in there. It cancels them. If you pay a premium rate, which, and again, we'll tell you what to do there, it'll go in and renegotiate better prices for you too, which is great. It'll see if other sites are offering new offers, if you threaten to cancel or you do whatever. So they're really working for you. And at the end of the day, you're going to save yourself you're going to save a ton of money. It just happened for me today, actually. Something got down. It was a threat to cancel, and they offered 52 weeks at I'm not going to tell you which site. But that's exactly what happened. I went from paying a large sum, like $20 a month, to basically getting the next 52 weeks free at the next 52 weeks, basically year at like $2 a week. So I went from 20 something to $8 a month. So it's pretty substantial. That literally happened for me today. And that's just one of several subscriptions I had. Many others I whacked. So this is what it's been happening since I started using them. So again, get rid of those useless subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/garden. You could literally save hundreds a year. I saved about $100 today. Easy, just with that one subscription. Like I said, it'll cancel the unnecessary subscriptions right now. rocketmoney.com/garden. Make sure you check that out. It definitely is worth it. And I do think a lot of you are probably in the same boat I'm in. We also want to tell you briefly about Athletic Greens, which I'm sure you all know about because they've been advertising with us here for the last several months and will continue on with us into the new year. But what can we say about Athletic Greens we haven't said already, Bobby? We love it.
Yep.
We love it.
And we're just such a flow at this point. It's like 6-7 months of this stuff. I know. And look at us. We're rolling at 2 a.m. That's the kind of energy we got.
Are you kidding? Somebody suggested here we just roll right through to the Lakers game. We might just do a marathon here. I'm considering it.
We could just stay in the building here. Yep.
Yeah, it's a product we use every day. We love it. We've been using it now for several months. What is it? One delicious scoop of AG1, 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients. Boom, cup of water. That's the way to start your day. Special blend of ingredients supports gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and all that good stuff. It is lifestyle friendly, diet friendly. Doesn't matter what you're on, dairy free, gluten free, sugar free. You're fine taking this here. Supports better sleep quality and recovery, mental clarity and alertness. Tons of 5-star reviews and recommendations from healthcare professionals and actors and Hollywood types and athletes, and everybody loves their AG1. So again, time to reclaim your health, arm your immune system, convenient daily nutrition, one scoop, cup of water, boom, done. No need for a million different supplements. To make it easy, we'll give you a 1-year supply of immune here at the Garden Report. 1-year free supply of immune supporting vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/garden. Again, athleticgreens.com/garden. Take advantage of that gift and take advantage of this gift. A phenomenal t-shirt, which has been sent around. Several of you have gotten it. I know because you've sent me the screenshots, and we do appreciate that as well. So just DM me with your receipt and your shirt size, and we'll send it to you. Let's get to Tatum. What's going on here?
Big slump.
What's going on with your boy? Slumping, but again, falling into those bad patterns. What I know, Golden State did the thing like his kryptonite, which is, kind of blitz him, throw bodies at him. We're running into the same problems we had last year during Golden State. You remember, Bobby, we were saying, get that floater game going, right? Get that little mid-range, get that little thing. But I think he's been having a lot of success getting all the way to the rim this year. And he forgot that he spent a great deal of the summer doing what? Working on that floater game, right? Working on the little in-between stuff, trying to get those shots off because he was recognizing that's what's going to happen to him. They're either going to blitz him early when he gets the ball, or if he gets past that first layer of defense, guys are stepping up, they're throwing bodies at him, they're making it tough, and that's that. So that was an area that I thought he had improved on, was to be able to kind of knock down that little floater, stop in the paint, get those shots off before he gets in too deep, gets into awkward, situations. What's been happening? Not only is he missing these shots near the rim, Bubby, but he's also taking himself out of the play, and we're back into those terrible rhythms where a Jason Tatum miss down low ends up with a transition bucket the other way, like 100 out of 100 times now.
Yeah, and they got to be able to work multiple actions to be able to get him back the ball in a good spot. And that's on him, and that's on some other guys. I think Smart and White got to do a better job setting the table on this offense right now, but he's also got to be screening and doing all these little things that this offense was doing. You look at the offense right now, John, it doesn't look like it did earlier in the season. There's not that activity. There's not all that rolling and cutting. A lot of shots early in the clock. Not as much running up the floor and ahead of the defense. That was so key to what they were doing earlier this year. When you talk about the fast break.
Bad habits.
So, when he has the ball in his hands and the defense is able to load up, it looks hard for him. And there's turnovers and there's bad shots. And, sometimes even going to go to the mid-range, which isn't his specialty. So this is what it's going to look like.
Where's the screening? Where's the cutting? Where did it go?
It was in Brooklyn. Remember? He did a great job within that game, and that's the last time we saw it, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's, I think some of the stuff he talked about after the game, fatigue and probably getting a little tired of those habits and just all these shooting explosions that they've had, letting them rest on that. And that's where I think you look at pull-up jumpers early in the clock and isolations and some of these easy ways out. It's going to take a lot for them to be great offensively, and they're not going to do it for 82 games. They're not going to break records offensively, probably.
I know.
But when they do those things, that's how good they are. And when they don't do those things, this is closer to who they are.
And that's what stinks that's what's bothered me about both Tatum and Brown. And in fact, the reason why Brown is oftentimes more effective than Tatum is he's a better difficult shot maker than Tatum is. And that's kind of where Brown gets away with it. But both of them do the same things, which is
that's what we're saying from Brogdon too.
Yeah, they're forcing their way into very difficult shots. Brown is just making them at such a ridiculously elite clip. He's the number one guy by a couple percentage points in 2-pointers, mid-range, kind of mid-range taken 58% on the year, on the worst shot in basketball. And this is now the third straight year that he's done that, where he's just elite at the shot that nobody wants you to take in basketball, which makes it a good shot for him. But he's still almost always working. All of those are not only the tough shot, the long two, the mid-range two, they're also all contested. And he just hits them. But Tatum, when he gets into this type of mindset here, he makes it really really hard on himself. He's not getting the easy buckets like he was earlier in the year. And that's where the offense really stagnates here. When they get into that, they're making it harder on themselves by not doing the things that they were doing earlier in the year. And again, ruts are ruts, slumps are slumps. As long as you get out of it, you're fine. But knowing that it's there and seeing that they can revert back to it is the thing that makes me uneasy right now.
Yeah, and didn't we start to see this creeping in at the beginning of the trip? Brooklyn with the mismatch hunting, Toronto a little bit too. They had good games in those settings, but your efficiency slips, your shot quality slips just a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you have nights like these. So this didn't happen overnight in the Warriors game. We started to see this slip into this over the course of a couple different games. I forget what the last home game was, but Brooklyn's where I start to think like they got caught up a little bit in mismatch hunting. All of a sudden you don't have as many mismatches against a team like the Clippers, and even the Warriors I think do a great job just like flying around defensively and backing up their mismatches. So these are two tough defenses that they're going against. I think the Clippers were 5th or 6th coming into this. The Warriors probably rank low, but we know the level they can play at. They were the number 2 team on that end last year. So they're facing more resistance right now. And tomorrow you're going to run into Anthony Davis and LeBron and a team that's been really good defensively. So even though we don't respect the Lakers, I think they're going to give you a big challenge on a back-to-back as well with no Horford out there. He'll be out again tomorrow.
Yeah, and again, you talk about things that you don't like seeing, like where did good Marcus Smart go? He's been gone the last 2 games. Marcus Smart, who's calming things down, who has the ball in his hands, who's running the offense, not there, not at all, no impact at all. And then Derek White, again, this is the version of Derek White where last year there'd be times where he would play himself off the court, and tonight was one of them. He played himself off the court, and it's just. Yeah, you as I said, is it can happen, but when you see it all happen at once, again, I always use that, you get that PTSD kind of creep in, like, oh, I've seen this is ugly, I don't like this version, like, please don't, like, so I'll ask, I don't know if it's a slump. I don't know if teams are starting to figure the Celtics out and adjust. The book is out after the first 20 games, and they're kind of defending them a little bit differently or doing different things, or it's an approach thing from the Celtics from the Celtics standpoint.
You got to think it's the second, and that doesn't mean everyone's going to be able to do it. Again, the Clippers and Warriors have great personnel and coaching and awareness to know how to do that. But you look across the board right now, Hauser, man, has he come down to earth?
Well, we knew
White,
that was going to happen, sadly.
yeah, White. Teams are forcing it back to Smart and making him a jump shooter. I think that's always a good way to neutralize him. But he's going to be able to,
and to White for that matter too,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
that's the thing, is like it doesn't matter what Derek White's current 3-point percentage is. Teams are still going to want that shot over the alternative when he's out there with the starters.
Yeah, so that makes me think that teams are starting to figure out a way to do it. And Steve Kerr even talked about it on Saturday when I asked about it. Like, they're really going to get into bodies, rush you off the line, recover, and, get that back line set as well. So there aren't really cutting options for the other team as well. Like, you can do a lot when you have the personnel that the Clippers and Warriors have. And again, pretty impressive seeing the Warriors, without Norman Powell, still be able to put Kawhi and George and Marcus Morris and big guards out there who can really compete defensively too. Remember, John Wall in his day could really defend, and Reggie Jackson's a bigger guard. Like they got sort of that Celtics thing going on from 2020, where you just had all these different wings and lanes flying around, and that bothered the Celtics. Again, even offensively, the Clippers put them in foul trouble. Tatum and Brown both said that had a huge impact on them in this one. So you same thing slip. Like, that's not great to hear. Not great to see the offense playing the way it is, and the complaining is back.
And so that's where I want to go to. Like, I mean, you talk about, like, you want to call out an individual, like what's Grant doing? Like, the entire team, and we all know the play that we're talking about here, on that backcourt that wasn't a backcourt, where Luke Kennard just gets it and walks up and steps right into a wide open 3, while all of the Celtics are looking over at the ref and just pleading their case for a backcourt violation, was like, Yeah, one of the low points of the season there. Just it really was just a singular moment. That's the kind of stuff that if you're a coach, you just want to run everybody off the floor and say you're done for the night. Like every single one of you, what are you doing here? That was just
And that's the other
disgraceful.
thing. So yeah, that's where I started the show. That was my third point. What does Joe do in this spot? The one I forgot. He's playing the, oh, it's good to go through this. And yeah, we had 26 assists and all the silver lining, sort of the Brad, right? Is that going to be able to rally the troops? Because it didn't from Golden State to the Clippers game. Does it again tonight? Does that play tomorrow? Like, does that even have an effect on a room? Just saying, oh, we did some good things. Hard to imagine. And again, I hear behind the scenes he can be tough on these guys, but I haven't seen it the last two games. And again, we're nitpicking because the bar is high. Like, these are the teams you're going to have to beat to win the title. You might even have to beat teams that are tougher than these two teams to win the title. And again, not that Joe should be slamming guys and questioning their mental toughness and all that stuff that was going on when this team was 500. Because again, they're 21-7. So I get him not slamming them, but you go easy on them after Golden State. You have a worse performance here, as you said, John. When do you kind of lay the hammer a little bit?
Yeah, it's
And maybe
not
he
the
does that
loss.
internally, but
I know, and this is where, like, I think people got like, really triggered and confused, on social media these past couple days. Nobody is saying that one loss means that everything that's discredited every single thing that's come before it. But the question is it concerning? Are there things there that worry you going forward? Are there things that they're going to do, And again, that's why we were so eager to see what they would look like coming out in this game. If they could have flushed it, I mean, look what Phoenix just went through. Phoenix just went through 3 straight of this, maybe 4, right? Where they got run off the court by the Mavericks. That was one of those like, oh, we got to flush it, and that was their revenge game. That was their Golden State. That's the team that embarrassed them in Game 7 last year in the conference semis. The game before they played Boston, they went out and they got absolutely croaked by Dallas. So they didn't get up for that game. Then they come out against the Celtics and they go down 45 in the third quarter. So, I mean, you see teams do that. Sometimes it just kind of gets away from them. That's where the Celtics are right now. It's just how concerning is it? Can they pull their way out of it? And, can they kind of fight those demons? We've seen them in the past. The worst version of this team can be a really frustrating team, and the best version can be virtually unbeatable. And so that's kind of what you got here, which is, I'm not saying Jekyll and Hyde. It's been mostly good. I mean, it's been exceedingly good all year. But this version of them that's been around these last 2 games is the one that makes you want to rip your hair out.
yep. And that's how I got on them. The Clippers, you impressed at all? Could they be a factor? Could they be the team you see in June?
The Clippers were the betting favorites coming out of the West. The Clippers on paper are, were everybody's pick coming out of the West this year. So, I mean, this is the type of team that it doesn't matter what they do in the regular season. Sorry, you still got me?
Yep.
My core. If they're healthy, I think most people, they're loaded. I mean, that's a loaded roster. When they have everybody, so they can absolutely be real. And again, when you have you got the best version of Kawhi Leonard kind of on autopilot, even just kind of a cruise control game for him where, I mean, he was on a slight minutes restriction, but he still played close to 30, even though they said they were going to try to keep him a little bit under that. He just goes out there and it's like friggin' butter. 10 of 12.
I can't believe it.
Just absolute butter. I mean, he's so good, and it's just easy. When Jalen and Jason, and again, Brown, again, to his credit, is hitting ridiculous shots and very contested shots. The difference between like a mid-range scorer like Kawhi Leonard and a guy like Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's hitting ridiculously tough pull-ups with people in his face, turning, spinning, jumping back, and he's still hitting them. Leonard, I'd feel like, just walks up to a spot, rises up and shoots. Gets to his spot, rises up and shoots. That's all he does.
He's methodical. He's patient.
It's methodical. It's not senseless dribbling and setting somebody up. It's get it, get to my spot, rise up, shoot. Get to my spot, rise up, shoot.
Brown could pull from that for sure. And I think Brown's been
Absolutely
compared
could.
to Leonard in the past, like physically. So it's cool to see him back playing at this level.
He's
This is
so
obviously
good.
the best he's looked since the ACL tear.
Yeah.
You looked at, I mean, with 10 minutes into his stint, he played 29-ish, right? I think he was 2 or 3. And the way he's just easing into the game, and all of a sudden you look up and he's 10 or 12, and he's just hitting all these different shots. And you talk about the lack of a transition game or flow or fast break. His ability to kind of just pepper those mid-rangers against them and keep stopping the game. And
it just makes it look so easy.
10. Yeah, it killed them. And George was great too, even in a bad shooting night. Just that aggression. They're a great team. And again, I was interested to see this West Coast trip because these are different kind of teams that the Celtics are playing. I know the East is better overall, but you do have these elite teams at the top. I respect the Warriors. They're still my pick out of the West. I respect the Clippers. I respect the Suns. I don't know what happened in that game, but
I like the Suns. I thought I liked Denver too, and they really the Celtics really took it to them in that game at the Garden. And they've had their number the last couple of years. So, like I said, we're going to flush it. It's also almost 3 a.m. We apologize for making you guys wait as long as we did. But as I said, we had some technical difficulties. We had some difficulties that weren't technical that could result in a few firings. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. And then Bobby is all alone out there in LA, kind of running the whole show there. So we were a little late to get on there. We will wrap it up. Rob Williams did not play tonight. We are not sure, but what's going to happen tomorrow. But
I wouldn't count on it.
A Woj report said that he's ready, which is what we've been talking about throughout. Is he's ready, but medically, it's just is he ready physically, and that's what we don't know. It seems to be the report says it's up to Rob when he's ready to play and when he feels he's ready. And the reality is, I don't know if there's apprehension. I got no problem with Rob slow playing it if he's worried about his, his health or if he's a little tentative or he's just not confident on it yet. But I think this is really more a matter of conditioning. I just don't think he's ready to play NBA minutes yet right now because he's still working his way back. So I'm not going to say disappointed, but you don't fly a guy out to the West Coast just to hang out. I really think the Celtics thought he was going to play.
Danilo.
Huh?
Danilo's out here hanging out.
I think, but he's not. This isn't a rehabbing guy trying to fight his way back onto the court imminently. If Rob was just trying to get in shape, he could have stayed back. He could have played in friggin' Maine. He could have done a lot of different things. He went on this trip, I think, with the intention of playing. I think the Celtics are probably a little bit surprised he's not out there.
Yeah,
that he hasn't given the green light yet.
And the practice is obviously where we saw him. I think that was supposed to be like the big coming out party for him ahead of these West Coast games in California, and maybe it didn't go the way they expected. I know you even saw in the videos there were some ones you didn't love, John, and he certainly wasn't flying around out there full speed. And you've heard the different things about like, oh man, he's kind of bent over after some of these runs, catching his breath. So
yeah, that article
talked about it too.
There were quotes. Joe, if you read between the lines, Bobby, you've been saying he's kind of been like giving little nudges, right?
Yeah, you got to get in shape. And I don't know how you do that. I asked pregame, like what you really do and where you feel it out. And a lot of it's practice. Joe said they'll have practice on Thursday. There'll be different settings where I'm sure they could squeeze him in. I know it's been teased. Maybe he goes to Maine. I haven't heard anything about that, but we'll see. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's going to play tomorrow. I can't see it. They'll be relying on him a lot if he did play tomorrow just because of the Horford situations. I don't think you want to put him in that spot, certainly against Anthony Davis in that front line. So I don't think so. Again, disappointing. He comes out for the whole trip. I obviously said don't be surprised if he plays. And doesn't look like he's gonna on this trip, but that's fine. Again, you're in no rush. It's not panic time because of 2 losses. That's a whole different situation from everything we've talked about here. And you want him back at his best. So Orlando, if that's the move, Friday or Sunday, I think that's a good spot to do it. And if it needs to be even longer than that, so be it.
It feels like Friday's the one that's circled. Just is a shame because we did think we might see him. I still don't care because these games don't matter. I'd rather see him fe close to feeling good. And again, we talked about some of the video. He was wearing this big ass brace while he was practicing, and he looked a little clunky, just hopping around. Didn't look super explosive or springy. Threw down a dunk, but it wasn't one of these like, his chin over the rim. But then I saw video of him working out without a brace prior to this game, and he looked to be moving around okay. So, and physically, he looks all right to me right now. So again, it's just a matter of game shape. You can't get in game shape without playing games. So I think he's just
That was my question. Yeah.
he's gonna have to get in there and struggle a little bit. It's just when they rely on him, they got to just make sure he can get up and down the court at least a few times to be able to at least fulfill a 5 or 6 minute stint.
Maybe
If
they
he
want one
can't,
more practice
who knows?
Thursday. So Friday would make sense. Again, Jimmy's struck out. I've struck out now in my prediction. I think the soon for Sherrod kind of came and went too. So we're all just kind of guessing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I always had 2023, so anything that beats that to me is a positive. And that's where I'm at. But Celtics dropping two straight. Things are tightening up a tad in the East. They're even up with the Bucks here in the loss column, but still a game up there for that top seed. But don't look now. Cleveland, 4 games back. Brooklyn, 4 games back, 4.5 games back. Also playing well, 4 straight games. So things are tightening up. East, as we said, is good. It's going to be competitive. We did think this was a 70-win team, and obviously they're not. But they got to get out of some of these habits right now because it's I can't watch this. I can't watch this version of this team. I don't want to go back to angry Garden Reports, Bobby. Can't I be the guy that says, uh, you know, don't worry about anything. They're going to stomp everybody and just make the conference
That's
finals.
where
And
you were at, but you're
that's
getting a
where I was
little
at.
you're getting a little more concerned now, right?
I was cocky, but like I said, they sold me. And Bobby, look, I mean, last year, even when they were killing people, I was really reluctant to buy it fully with the defense because there were just still things I didn't like about how the team was playing. And a lot of it had to do with how they were playing offensively. I was really worried about it. This year, I was a lot less worried about the team. And I do still think they can play good defense when they want to play good defense and when they have Rob and when they have Al. It's a different team altogether. You're asking a lot of this team right now without any true bigs at all. So it is tough, but it's really how the rest of the guys have responded these last 2 games, and it's really been bad. So that's what I don't like to see. I don't like to see bad Tatum.
Well, this is why I've
Yeah.
nitpicked the defense, the
I don't
approach
like
and
to
the
see bad
pace,
Smart. Yeah. Yeah.
the depth and different things, coaching. Like I'm nitpicking everything because I know the level that you have to play at to win it all. Like just learning those lessons from the finals,
Yeah.
kind of being ahead of the pack, say for a few teams here and amassing this incredible record in the regular season isn't going to guarantee you anything. You're still going to hit that spot where the best from the other side of the East bracket and the best from the West are going to play their way up to your level and challenge you at the highest level. I mean, this is not. I've said this, John. I think I've said this. I don't think they're miles ahead of everybody. I think there's teams out there that can challenge them. I think there's going to be competition at the end of that road. Now, I think they'll walk relatively easily to the second round, maybe even to the East Finals. But once you get there, they're going to see some tough competition. And even last year, as good as they were, they almost lost to the Bucks. They almost lost to the Heat at the buzzer. And then the Warriors took it to them. Like 3 games were not very
Well,
competitive.
that's the thing I'll ask you. For all of the people who were like, Bobby, that's fair. Like, that's why it's not that one win undoes the 21 wins that came before them. It's which one to you matters more. Like beating the crap out of even some good teams and a lot of not so good teams, or the Golden State one where you wonder, let me just ask this question, anybody out there who thought it was no big deal. If the Celtics were to face the Warriors in a 7-game series right now, would you feel good? And the answer is no, then you got problems. Like, meaning, because right now this team has one goal: it's win the title or it's a bust of a season. They're that good, and that's where their sights are set. If they went out and they played Milwaukee and they got friggin' their doors blown off, that would be concerning, even though it's just one loss, because that's a team that you have to feel that you can confidently beat. Bobby, are you getting tossed? You're muted.
I'm linking up with my friend Law Murray from The Athletic. We're about to go do a Garden Report.
Oh, well, excuse me, Bobby. I will let you go do that, but that's why there's concern. It's the how and the who, because ultimately you're really only worried how you size up against a couple of teams out there, because that's all that's really going to matter. And you have to you have to know that you. What do you want to know? My best beats your best, or that team doesn't make me play my worst. That's the key to it all. And right now, the Celtics versus Golden State, if they were playing a 7-game series tomorrow, raise your hand if you're taking the Celtics. I'm not.
The Heat?
No, Celtics Warriors.
Oh, Warriors. Yeah, that's tough.
I'm
That's
not,
tough.
but before Saturday I was. So, that it changes your thinking a little bit. Changes the equation. As you said, there might be some teams who are closer than we thought. So, we'll see how it plays out. I'll let you go do your Garden Report. It is close to 3:00, so we are going to wrap it. But we are back later tonight. Yeah, whatever you want to call it, tomorrow with the Lakers. Bobby's right back there covering the game. Make sure you check out our YouTube channels for all of the latest Garden Report action, breaking down this game, looking ahead to tomorrow's, all of our post-game sound and all of that stuff. Make sure you check that out. Also for Patriots fans, hey, they won. They're alive. They're in the playoffs. If the season ended today, we'll see what happens. There'll be a Patriots beat tomorrow morning recapping tonight's game, so make sure you check that out as well. Bobby, go do your thing. Thank you guys for hanging out. Sorry we were late. We do appreciate you hanging with us. We will